Thank you for joining us on this journey as we navigate through a three-part webinar series. In the first two sessions, we learned about electronic signatures, hybrid, and full digital closings. In the session today, we will be diving into the world of remote online notary. In the first session, we covered the three laws that set the foundation for electronic signatures: UETA, the Uniform Electronic Transaction Act; eSign, the eSign Signature in Global and National Commerce Act; and UPIRA, the Uniform Real Property Electronic Recording Act. Then we also looked at the differences between a hybrid digital closing and a full digital closing. It all comes down to a handful of documents, such as the promissory note, affidavits, declarations, security instruments, and any other documents requiring a notarization. Where hybrid digital closings are the closings which most of the documents are digitally signed and a few key documents are printed and wet signed. Full digital closing is when all documents are electronically created, electronically signed, electronically notarized whether face-to-face or remote, and electronically recorded. In today's session, we will further define electronic notarization, which paves way to remote online notary. Electronic notarization, or e-notarization, comes in two forms: an in-person e-notary or remote online e-notary. Think of an in-person e-notary as a similar setting to a traditional notarization, but completely electronic without any use of paper. With e-notarization, you do everything you do today with the paper-based notarial act, just in digital form. In-person, which means all participants are physically there with you in the same room. If you were to reach out your arm, you could touch them and make direct eye contact. You must verify each participant with a photo ID that you can physically hold in your hand, and you will also enter each participant's information into your electronic journal. E-notarization has been legal in a number of states for many years. However, every state has specific legislation and regulations authorizing electronic notarization, and not all counties will accept electronically notarized documents. Remote online e-notary, also referred to as RON, is an electronic notarization that is conducted by a legally commissioned notary public who is authorized to conduct notarizations over the internet via digital tools and a live audio-video call. The name remote notary is derived from the fact that the notary serves the customer remotely over an internet connection. Person is remote, which means you interact with them through a specifically designed software that includes the use of a webcam to see the person remotely. If the person is not personally known to you, ID verification must be done through the state-permitted methods. If the person is not known to you, the participant's ID information is entered automatically if and only if they pass various specialized security questions and software that scans a person's ID card over video. Although there is a patchwork of various laws that support notarization across the country, only 4 states have passed laws specifically permitting remote notarization: Virginia, Montana, Texas, and Nevada, although Nevada's law has not yet gone into effect. The Fidelity family of underwriters will only issue policies for remote notarization today for 3 states: Montana, Virginia, and Texas, and only in these states if the notary is in the same state as the property, the notary has been approved by the state for electronic notarization, and if the document needs to be recorded, the recorder must accept electronic notarization. States can have specific laws and regulations authorizing e-notarization that describes a very specific set of technology that must be utilized in the correct fashion in order to comply with the law. So why is it important for the notarization to be correct and compliant with all the applicable laws? To ensure the validity of the notarial act. Therefore, a reputable vendor who can meet the necessary state and underwriting requirements should be utilized. The FNTG Digital Solution Teams has been vetting and working with vendors to offer our operations a platform to conduct RON. Vendors must have proven methods of authentication, security measures, and must comply with state-specific laws and regulations. Now, FNTG has a contract in place with NotaryCam and is working towards a pilot for RON in Texas. It's important to understand you cannot simply just use a webcam, and you should not start electronically notarizing with any system or any vendor without first contacting the Digital Solutions team. So let's talk about the process for e-notarization. We'll start with the process for in-person. The notary will first log into the vendor platform to upload the documents. Once they're uploaded, the notary will prepare the documents by tagging and/or applying appropriate templates for signature. At the scheduled appointment time, the notary will meet the signer at a designated location. The notary will confirm the signer's identity, record their ID information, and witness their signature. The notary will log into the vendor platform to locate the digital documents. Once the documents have been signed by the signer, the notary will legally notarize the document by completing the notary block, applying their signature and seal. The notarization is complete. Now, if applicable, you'll prepare your documents for electronic recording, download and store specific documents to your digital order, retain record of the transaction in your electronic notary journal. Electronic recording, or e-recording, is the process of recording those documents in an electronic form. This may be accomplished by submitting an electronic document such as a PDF which was stored electronically, or by submitting a paper document which was scanned into electronic form. So does FNF Underwriter allow in-person e-notarization? Yes, FNF permits in-person e-notarization. Before you begin the process of getting registered with the state, you should contact the Digital Solutions team to get started. Next, we'll go over the process for remote online notary. The notary will first log into the vendor platform to upload the documents. Once they're uploaded, the notary will prepare the documents for tagging and/or apply any appropriate templates for signatures. At the scheduled appointment time, the notary will log into the platform to connect with the signer over live video. The notary will confirm the signer's identity, take a picture of their ID, and confirm the identity and witness their signatures. Prior to applying the signatures, the vendor platform verifies the signature's identity through forensic analysis of government-issued photo ID and the use of KBA questions. Once the documents have been signed by the signer, the notary public will legally notarize the documents by completing the notary block and applying their seal and signature. The notarization is complete. If applicable, you'll prepare the document for e-recording, download and store specific documents for your digital order, and lastly, retain record of the transaction in your electronic notary journal. Conducting RON is subject to stricter guidelines and standards. This involves multi-factor authentication. This is just like when you log into your bank accounts or access a secure email where you are sent a code to enter to continue. In addition to multi-factor authentication, the signer must answer knowledge-based questions. The signer must be able to correctly answer 4 of the 5 questions presented to them within 2 minutes time frame to successfully pass and continue. Once that is completed, the signer will move on to presenting their government-issued ID for system analysis. If the ID is authentic, a picture of it will be captured for a digital record, and the notary will compare the ID photo to the person in the video. There must be a continuous synchronous audio and video feed with good clarity, and the audio-video recording must include a person-to-person interaction. The notary must keep an electronic journal and store the video files. As we know, county recorder offices can differ from county to counties. Just because the state passed the law that allows e-recording and/or documents with e-notarization doesn't mean that that county will accept them. The offices of county recorders may restrict or lack the capacity to record digital documents. So if you find they don't accept electronic notarization, RON will not be an option for that transaction. You should work with your local underwriting to determine if your county is available to accept e-notarization and RON transactions. What types of transactions work for RON? Cash transactions are a great place to start. Some seller documents, or any other non-recorded documents that need notarization, such as the Texas T-47. If the transaction involves a lender, that lender would need to approve the process in order to proceed with the borrower's documents. Does FNF Underwriting allow remote online notarization? Yes, as long as all strict guidelines and standards are followed and our Fidelity team of underwriters have approved it for the states we have mentioned. Please contact your local underwriter and the Digital Solutions team to get started. So what types of clients or customers could benefit from Ron? Your client should have access to a computer with a camera and able to connect to a high-speed internet connection. If your clients have dial-up, you may want to proceed traditionally. Your client should also feel comfortable accessing the camera on their computer and able to do some basic troubleshooting. Understanding your local markets and the demand for e-closings. Talk to your lenders, realtors, and clients. Share your knowledge and generate some interest. You may even gain a new client or two. Please stay on the line for a brief Q&A. Make sure you type your questions in the question box, and time permitting, we will answer them live or follow up with the emailed response.